Welcome back to the channel. Look at this amazing dry lake bed. Eagles live out here. We're a little bit early, November through April, but maybe I'll come back out here and capture some wildlife. Snow bowl. Gorgeous. What a day. It's been cloudy all morning. Sun's peeking out now, but all right, let's get back on these bikes. Perfect day for a ride. My boy just got a Ducati Street Fighter. Such a badass bike. That thing's got 200 horsepower plus on a little 400-pound frame. I want him to let me borrow it. We don't live close to each other though. But it's always good. Two wheels is two wheels. I couldn't live without my heavy bike. Me and Maybelline, you know, we hit the road. We did a 17-hour ride once. You can't do that on a Street Fighter. I think I want a Ducati as a second bike though. Panigale V4 for hitting these mountains, you know. And just grind it out. Oh, it's nice to be moving. You know, that little tiny sun peeking through that lookout point was hot. Now it's like, feels like it's 20 degrees cooler, and I'm getting the wind chill factor. Out here. I want to talk to you guys about resentments, because they are so powerful at robbing us of our life and our blessings and our pleasures. It's like sitting in traffic. You know, you have this open road right now. I can go as fast as I want, as slow as I want. There's no distractions. I can clear my mind. I mean, look at how absolutely beautiful this is. This is a life with no resentments. Sitting in rush hour traffic, stop and go, getting cut off, slamming on your brakes, overheating, late to where you're trying to go. That's living with resentments. Remember a time in my life when I was so full of resentment for everything. I resented my parents for leaving me homeless. I resented kids who had parents for having a better life than me. I resented people that had money for having nicer clothes and not being so stressed out. In college, all these kids that were complaining that they only had $1,000 a month on their parents' credit card they could spend, and their rent was already paid. They're sitting on the couch next to a 12-pack of beer on a Saturday just relaxing, and I'm desperately trying to sell as much weed as I can and struggling to pay for even a ham sandwich. So many resentments. So heavy and pointless because it was nobody's fault that I was where I was but my own. Even my parents, it might have been their fault when I was first homeless in middle school, but by the time I was 18, 19 years old, to still be harboring resentments from that, that's me, that's on me. If I should have resented anybody, I should have just been resenting myself for keeping myself stuck in this place with no gratitude and no growth. It's hard to see how good you have it. It robs you of your joy. I had amazing relationships in college that didn't feel amazing because I would just focus and harbor on the negative qualities of my life, and I'd be living 10 years in the past. I'd be on this beautiful beach town college campus with all these beautiful people who want to talk about big ideas and worldly problems, and I'm still sitting on campus thinking about all the struggles that got me there, not realizing that I got there. I did find some confidence when I got into a university. I feel like from the time that I first became homeless and started struggling, I feel like I was always looking down at my feet, walking around looking down at my feet, feeling sorry for myself, resenting everybody, and walking on that campus for the first time, knowing that I somehow got through middle school, got through high school, got through my armed robbery charges, and just somehow scratched and clawed my way into a university. Like, that whole experience created some self-confidence and pride. And I remember the first day I walked on that campus was the first day I looked up and had my chin in the air and felt a level of self-respect. And it was beautiful, but at the same time I was still harboring resentments, still carrying the weight, still mad about the babysitter that molested me when I was 9 years old, mad about the cops that arrested my parents, hated the cops, all of them. They were all guilty, they were all pigs. It was awful. I had so much hate in my heart, and it showed up in my life. It showed up in unhealthy, toxic relationships, alcoholism, fistfights. My friends were suspect. I heard it in a song once, walking around like a pack of pigs. And I remember that's how I felt. I felt like I was walking around in a pack of pit bulls. You didn't know who you could trust. Any one of my best friends could turn around and bite me in a heartbeat. The stress made it tiring. I lost my appetite. My cortisol levels were up. All this just from living in the past and resenting everything. And those are just big examples. You know, there's also little resentments, like somebody cutting you off in traffic. And because you're the main character of your own life, it's somehow their fault that they cut you off on your freeway. And you deserve so much better, and so you resent them. Or you resent your boss because you have to go to work every day and work a 9 to 5. I had a job as a dishwasher once. It was a horrible, nasty job, and I was manipulated. You know, I was so good at my job, I was called the head dishwasher, which you don't ever want to be the head dishwasher. I just had so much pride in everything I did at the time that I did a really good job at washing these dishes. And so because I was the head dishwasher, I got all of the peak hours. They needed me at breakfast and lunch at this coffee shop. You know, I'd show up to work at 5 a.m. and would already be piling up dishes, and then I'd leave at 1 p.m. after the lunch rush. And so I just had all the peak hours of disgusting dishes coming back, frantically getting them through the dishwasher, putting them back on the shelves, the chefs yelling at me to get them the pot they need, the servers yelling at me for the coffee mugs. It was a very fast-paced job. experience because I felt like they were using the word head dishwasher to make me feel important, to give me all these horrible hours. And really, I was, getting all the hours. I was making the money. The other dishwashers were part-time, not making any money. I was actually blessed to have like this solid job. I saved up enough money for my first car. And fast forward to that, I bought a car off of somebody I trusted who sold the car to two people that day. Sold it to me and somebody else. I never got the car. This person just stole my money. I spent 6 months saving every single penny to save up $4,000 to buy this car, and I never got the car. And it was a family member that did that to me. So I was resentful for that too. But even that job, I remember I was so resentful and ungrateful that I went to the main office and stole a bottle of wine. And this was, maybe it was my freshman year in high school, before I was really heavy into selling the drugs and I thought I could actually get a job and work through school. And I stole the wine, go home and get drunk with it, and I got caught and I got fired. And then I resented her for firing me, because resentment is not a logical emotion. It doesn't make sense. It's self-destructive. It keeps you in this negative loop. The only reason to have resentments is because you want an excuse to be a failure. You don't have the courage to take these baby steps that we talked about in the last video. You don't have the courage to see the good in yourself. You don't have the confidence to think that you can do anything. So you hide in these resentments and you bury yourself in them because they help you feel more confident for being a loser. That's the only purpose that they serve, is to make you feel worse about yourself and the world around you, so that you have an excuse to not be a good person and not succeed and not live the life that you deserve and that you're capable of. It's all self-destructive behavior. So then I lose the job, but then I lose the money that came from the job. Now I've got resentments for the job, resentments for the boss that fired me, resentments for the family member that robbed me. Surrounding myself with all this toxic behavior, people with resentments and negative attitudes. Nobody positive wants to be around you, so you only have negative friends. I had the worst circle of friends. All losers to this day. Crackheads and tweakers. Not a good part of my life. It was definitely my downward spiral, was my resentment days. You have to ask yourself, what are you holding on to today, right now, that you're resenting? Something that happened today, something that's still happening as we speak, something from a week ago, something from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, something from your childhood. What are you holding on to right now? If I can forgive the guy that raped me, and I can forgive the parents that left me on the streets, and I can forgive myself for overdosing on drugs and getting a criminal record and wasting 20 years of my life in this negative pit before I finally decided to step out of it. I'm on the other side now, and I wish this came 20 years sooner. Having financial relief, a great relationship with my family, people who look up to me and are proud of me. It feels amazing, you guys. It feels complete opposite of what that resentment feels like, and that's what I want for you. How can you let it go? Sometimes it's just a decision. Sometimes you can actually just decide, and with that decision, it's done. We talked before about smokers smoke because they identify as smokers. And you don't quit smoking by saying, I want to quit smoking, because you're still identifying as a smoker who's trying to quit smoking. You quit smoking by saying, I'm not a smoker. I no longer identify as somebody that smokes. That's it. So that's a great way to jump out of resentments. I no longer identify as somebody who gives myself negative self-talk. I no longer identify as somebody who judges the outside world and lets the outside world affect their inner peace. 100% I will not allow the outside world to affect my peace. I've got current events that I'll discuss with you guys when they're finally in the past. But it could break people. People could really go down into this shamanic death of negativity if they wanted to with these experiences that I'm battling. But I feel more powerful and more grateful now than I ever have. And I'm in the midst of it. And it's just the mindset shift. Try to let it go. And you can let it go through forgiveness. You can let it go by just telling yourself that it's no longer in your field. You know, things like my parents, my family member that robbed me, things like that I had to forgive. The guy that raped me, I had to forgive him. It all had to be at peace in my heart. So my step was going back to that moment in a meditation, to that person, and forgiving them because I'm whole now. But then there's other resentments where I just don't even allow it to stick. It floats by like a cloud in the sky. Like, yes, sometimes I get cut off, especially on a motorcycle. I've got trailers that have pulled out in front of me and almost killed me. They don't see you, they don't look for you. And it's really easy when you first almost die from somebody cutting you off on a motorcycle that for a split second your blood boils. You resent that person. You want to speed up next to him and see what this idiot looks like. And as soon as that happens, I'm just like, Control Alt Delete, let him go. I ease off the throttle, give him space, and I get past it. Because I know that hanging on to that energy only hurts me. It does nothing good for me. Meanwhile, being at peace and being in gratitude gives me a better life, saves my life, and creates abundance in my life. So when you're starting to feel heavy and you're hanging on to these resentments and there's something festering inside you, take one small step to let it go. Allow yourself to feel the release of what it feels like to not hang on to that. There's a mental health crisis in this country, you guys, and we're all part of it. It's the chemicals in our food, it's the stuff we see on TV and the news. The world's ran by very evil entities. We're surrounded by it. The only way that we can win is by not letting it affect us. We have to stay in our higher vibrational frequency. And resentments is the one way to fall. So send some love out today. Let that thing go today. Make today the first day of these baby steps and the first day of eliminating resentments. Feel light. Move around, wiggle your shoulders. Feel what it feels like to be light and only accept that into your life. So if you're still listening to this video, all my love and gratitude goes out to you. Together, we can heal past traumas and live our